I think motivation's not. You can't live in a motivational mindset constant like forever. It's like, but resilience comes from experience where you're putting in the grind that from these failures is allowing you to succeed and not getting you deterred away from what that goal was, which is to book in more meetings than you were originally.
There's a great example as well that I like to use. You know how the bamboo trees grow? That you can't really see any traction in the first 3 to 5 years, but then once it breaks the ground, it just goes meters without stopping, which is a really good example that I like to use it when it comes to the topics like resilience and just patience of success.
Agree, and I think that it's where sort of perseverance and patience meets opportunity, which is what people call luck, but actually
that's it.
What
the
it
harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah, but it's also like the countless mistakes, failures, and perseverance and patience and resilience that it took you in order to create those opportunities that you might not have been ready for back then. But through the continuous like forward momentum, it allowed you to take advantage of what it took quite long to build. And I think that that's where people quit, is the first milestone, is the first setback, is the first is the first, not getting to where you wanted it to get. Like it's always twice as long and twice as much money than people make out things to do if they want to do them. But it's when it starts getting, because if it was easy, everyone would do it.
That's it. It's a perfect example as well with where you said where the luck meets opportunity.
So yeah, it's kind of where the I'm going to get my words mixed up now. It's like where the perseverance and patience meets opportunity.
It's a perfect example of I got this opportunity to act in a movie, just a little scene. But if I would never have done martial arts, I would never have got this opportunity in the first place. So it's again like, just because I did martial arts, I got this opportunity. And this, you can call it luck, but then I put myself in that environment to essentially receive that opportunity.
Yeah, it's like 10 years ago you wouldn't have been ready for that opportunity because do you know what I mean? But it's like because you put yourself in that space, because of the grafting times that you put, the opportunities allowed you to be able to take advantage of. And I think it's that stage where you're just putting the time in order to, like, there's this quite recent podcast that's come out with Casey Neistat and the Diary of a CEO, and I'm like obsessed with Casey Neistat because always have been. He's like a pioneer in like the YouTube world in terms of what he created for video editing, but he very much kind of talks about it took him like a solid 15 years of failing at becoming a videographer before he ended up making a success on YouTube. And you could say that that's like extreme discipline and resilience to going against the odds and going against the grain and going against people that are telling him that he shouldn't do it because he can't afford to eat and look after a child and all the rest of it. It's those kinds of stories that people love listening to when there's success on the end of it. But there's also like the opposite to that is like when it does get really tough in it's good, like how much do you want it to work, and I think that's what you've got to really ask yourself if you're at that point right now. For anyone listening to this that's sort of in that stage where they're not really sure with what they're doing is working and they're trying everything that they've got and they're thinking of giving up or quitting, it's, do you know what your why is in order why you're doing it? And like, does it mean more to you to succeed than it would to fail? Of course it would.
I mean, look at his podcast, right? I'm pretty sure if we'll reach episode 100, 200 episodes mark, and we're going to look back on this episode, we're just going to be cringing so much probably, because at the moment we don't really know what we're doing. We're just doing it because we enjoy talking first off, because again we had this conversation in a coffee shop and we were like, yeah, let's do it, because I think it's a great, and you enjoy this in the first place, and
that's the thing. It's like your why in which you do things. So there's no other reason why in which we're doing this, because we enjoy it. If anything was to come of this podcast, even though we're in episode 3, like my mind is not focused on that, because I just enjoy sitting down and talking in a microphone. But I think if you're doing it for the reasons in which that your expectation is higher, then you start to put the sort of doubtful mindsets in place on yourself, because it's about your expectation.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're putting too much expectations on where you should be, rather than being just in the place of where you are at, then it starts to get like everything's out of reach. Whereas if you reduce your expectation, where it's like there's no expectation on anything, I feel you start to live a very much happier life. Like there's no expectation on this podcast to succeed. I just enjoy doing this podcast. Yeah. If the end of it is that it makes a success, then great. Like I get to do something and lean into something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
But I don't have any expectation on it. So therefore, like it's easier for me to persevere through past 21 podcasts, because I'm not doing it for any other reason that I just enjoy podcasting.